Dun, 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 dun. We are live and at it. It is Sunday, February 12, 2023. And we are here live from somewhere. Full power, infinite, awesome, amazing Sunday afternoon. Hang out with Nico the Dreamer. Let's go. What's up, fam? Sort of vibe. And we hanging and chilling and hanging and doing the darn thing and winning every single where we go. And if you on my team, you a winner too. So let's win the world together with kindness and joy and compassion and love and all of the good full power stuff, because we need it in this world. And this is my offering to you. It is Sunday afternoon and it is my time to give my best self to you. And that's what I'm here for. So very humbly and kindly, I offer my service to you so that we can be our best selves and win the world forever. And I'm very, very serious about that. We are going to win the whole darn pie. All of the bullshit that we've seen in society over the last couple years, and by couple, I mean every darn year of my entire fucking life, is coming to an end, and we are ending it. And God bless it. If nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to fucking do it. So let's go. The people who have taken things for a joke and they thought they could play the people of the world and dumb us down with the public education system and, poison the food supply and the water supply, and, that didn't want to responsibly dispose of their toxic waste, aluminum plant waste, fluoride stuff, and sell it to the government to put in our water. Those people are going to reap what they sown, and it's not okay. And they're going to get every darn last little bit they deserve and then some in this world and in the next. And when you understand the spiritual truth of reality, you stop playing, you stop entertaining evil ideas, or you don't even play around with cruelty or being mean or spiteful or hurtful or jealous or insecure, any of those things. You realize we got bigger fish to fry, and that gentle kindness and goodness is the only thing worth putting our attention towards, and that doing good and being good, and in fact doing your best and being your best every day is the mission, and there's nothing else that matters. And so that's where I'm at with it. And being a fragile pink-bellied meat suit type of human living being is hard, and none of us are perfect, and we're doing our best within that. But yet here we are, live and in color, right in front of you. And in this life, just by not giving up, you are a winner. So I give my support to you. If you're hearing these words, you're a winner, you're a champion, you're deserving of all the good things in life, of love, of kindness, of connection, of art and beauty and pleasure in appropriate amounts and in the right balance, of family, of inspiration. You deserve it all, and we deserve it all, and we are going to win it all. And if I can give you any amount of inspiration, then that is just a joy to me. Hey, I'm kind of doing double task right here. What was the question?
Thinking when I was listening to your description of the message boards there, have you thought about using the contract data itself for storing the actual message board data? That way it would be available on chain. That way, and so the users would be able to bootstrap and know where they are in the midst of a conversation or something, instead of having to carry around offline data.
Yeah, so that was kind of where I ended up with the project, when I kind of like ran out of time and had to submit what I had as a proof of concept. But basically, I had considered, yes, it probably makes sense to store some amount of things on chain, but probably not all of everything. I'm wondering, can you write like a most recent snapshot of the graviton tree to the chain. That was kind of my idea, is that at the end of each session, it would basically just batch it all as one transaction, and you would update the modified graviton tree to the chain. And then I had created some Golang objects, basically like a user object and a messages object, um, and a users array object to handle all of the users. And then they would also have, username, password, stuff like that. So my idea was to basically at the beginning of the session, you load up the most recent graviton um, instance from the blockchain, and then at the end of the session, in order to create permanence, you would write the changed version to the blockchain. Does that sound like the correct way of going about that?
Yeah, I'm just I haven't since we haven't seen anything like that done in the communication space. I would say it's interesting to think about the costs, so the gas costs associated with doing these things too. So it'd be fun to see where you go with that.
I think it's cool. I mean, I think there's the possibility of us having our own little clandestine cypherpunk Darrow thing going on that nobody else needs to know about. It can you could almost see it being like our own version of Twitter sort of vibe.
Yeah, absolutely, that's what I was thinking.
Hmm. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm still learning. This is my first Go project, so anybody that has ideas or I'm happy to collaborate and work in that direction.
You should we should get G45 to open up a channel for you on the Discord server so you can share your thoughts, have some talks with people about it.
Yeah, definitely. I looked at the DVM stuff a little bit, and I'm also kind of working on learning Solidity as well for some Ethereum stuff. I'm in Colorado. I intend on going to the Ethereum Denver conference here in a week or so, and EVM, DVM, smart contract, same sort of vibe, and definitely do some proselytizing to the ETH community of the need for privacy. I've been kind of watching the what they call it. OFAC compliant node situation with the MEV, um, basically the centralization of Ethereum nodes and how I think that's likely to cause some problems at a certain point. I think people don't really want to hear it, but I don't see that not being a problem moving forward.
Yeah, so great spaces there for fitting Darrow in, even if people want to keep using transparent sheets.
I'm gonna be dropping appropriately colored pills everywhere I can. Yep.
That's great. Thanks.
Hmm.
I'm going to ask Eisenhower's a question. I know we've asked the question a few
Thank you
times.
for bearing with me. I'm back on mute. I'm kind of doing double task. I'm in a Discord group chat. You got to hear some of that conversation. I'm participating in this distributed architecture contest for Darrow blockchain, privacy-based homomorphic encryption blockchain. Darrow is sweet. I like it very much. dero.io. It's sweet. They got a great website. They got great technology. The project is on GitHub. You can look at it if you can read Golang at all. They got their own virtual machine. So Ethereum has the Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM, and Darrow has the Darrow virtual machine, DVM. And so Darrow, to my knowledge, is the only or the most prominent privacy crypto with smart contract capabilities. So everything on the Darrow chain is homomorphically encrypted, which means that the encrypted data can be calculated upon, and you can check it mathematically without needing to decrypt the data. So you can do mathematical checksum sort of operations without having to decrypt the data, which means that during transit end to end, the data remains encrypted. So basically, you make a transaction from your wallet, it encrypts that transaction, sends it to the nodes to be processed. It's processed onto the blockchain, and and only once it arrives at the node to be processed onto the blockchain is it decrypted. So all the while in transit, it is encrypted. And so basically the way they describe it is that the once Darrow is distributed out from um, out to your wallet. I don't know if there's like a central treasury or like a main account that, or I guess they're mined. I guess the tokens are mined into existence, and whoever started the blockchain, they get the most inflation at the beginning. So, but anyway, whenever it goes into a wallet, it's basically like cash coming out of a bank. When the cash is in the bank knows exactly how many dollars there are in existence, the Federal Reserve or whatever. But once that cash goes out of the bank, you can take your cash, hand it to your neighbor, hand it to your cousin. It goes around, circulates around, and because it's cash, nobody has any idea who has what, unless you're actually counting the serial numbers on the dollar bills, which maybe someone's keeping track of that. But we're not quite there yet. So I've been hearing more rumblings about bail-ins because the derivative bomb and the banking system is deterministically, the US dollar is going to zero. And so the last time, basically, with the mortgage bubble in 2008 and so forth, the banks put themselves in a place where they were set for failure and they were deemed too big to fail. And so the federal government bailed them out in the form of printing a bunch of money and giving it to them for free for their negligence of running a failing business model, of fractional reserve lending and running up this massive mortgage bubble that demand couldn't keep pace with, and it eventually crashing. They were rewarded with infinite helicopter money from the Federal Reserve. This time, they're talking about doing bail-ins, which sounds, I mean, at least it's not a bailout, right? But what that looks like is, instead of the government, of the Federal Reserve printing money to bail out all these banks, basically what they're going to do is you are going to fund it, and in the form of basically these commercial banks are just going to seize the bank accounts of average people, and they're going to say, hey, we're going bankrupt, and if we don't take your money, we're going to go bankrupt. So instead of having money, you guys are going to get stock in our failed bank, right? So just terrible. They're setting up to steal everyone's money right out from under their noses. So if you got money in a bank account, do something with it. Anything useful. I mean, honestly, a big old bag of rice right now seems like a good investment. A big old bag of silver seems like a good investment now, too. Just extremely undervalued and price manipulated, and supply demand. I think it's a good. I mean, that's. So anyway, I've been keeping as minimal amount of money in the bank account as don't put anything in. The sage investing advice is don't bet anything that you're not willing to lose, and that applies specifically to bank accounts right now. Anything you have in a bank account, there's risk to that, and it's never really been that way in our lifetime before, um, but it is that way now. Your money in the bank. I saw they had a little like board meeting. I think it was the FDIC. I might be wrong about that. Talking behind closed doors of like, we better not let the public know what's happening because they'll freak out, and they need to be the last to know, because they intend on stealing everything from the average person. So red alert, red alert, red alert. Do something useful with the money in your bank. If you think you can just sit on it and preserve your wealth that way, it's not going down that way. They might swap it for some central bank digital currency. They say, oh, well, your money's still good. It's just in the form of digital currency now, that we control and can turn on and off and restrict how you use it, when you use it, where you use it. This idea of 15-minute cities, like absolute monstrosity nonsense. Meanwhile, you got Bill Gates still justifying. He's like, well, I need to fly my private jet because I'm doing humanitarian work. Fucking idiot. Lol. Uh, these guys are talking about both sides of their mouth and all sides of their asshole. Is my favorite way of describing what these mainstream personality people are doing. They're lying to you directly to your face, and they have been the whole darn entire time. And the joke is on you if you haven't figured it out by now. If you have figured it out by now, then you're making preparations, and you're very likely to come out on top, um, or at least come out in a good position. So we'll see. I mean, what kind of chaos might happen when people go to the bank and they can't get their money out? It's already happening in certain places. What kind of chaos might happen when people go to the grocery store and they can't get what they need? We may be looking at a challenging time. Supply chain and all these farms going up in food packing plants going up in flames and stuff. Astronomical amount. It's like people don't get it. They don't see what's directly in front of their face. It's like, well, in every other year of our life, there were no massive massive food packing plant fires, and this year there's 70. Duh. It's they're doing it on purpose. It's intentional. Yeah, well, in every other year, the cases of average influenza was like 20 million, 30 million, and in 2020 it was 1,400. Uh, uh, to call it art-hearted would be a disservice to people with actual uh, justified mental handicaps. Like if you're falling for this stuff, it's like intentional. Conscious ignorance, in my mind, is the greatest sin that one can commit. It's akin to defiling or profaning the Holy Ghost, which is the one thing in Scripture that's basically said there is no forgiveness for that. If you profane the specialness of being alive, and you take it all for granted, and you turn your nose up at it, there's no coming back from that. Like, you have to give thanks in this life. Like, um, we're blessed just to be alive and to be here. And if we have to give thanks, and I've been ungrateful in my life and da 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 da, but I always had joy in my heart, and I always loved my people. Like my depression when I was in it was things not making sense in the world, seeing all the suffering in the world and feeling like I couldn't do anything about it, and that all the paths to prosperity and all the paths to a better life were being systematically taken away from us by, people, by basically criminal politicians and bankers and bureaucrats. And, that's sad. And seeing that the Federal Reserve System, that Federal Reserve notes are basically a physical manifestation of bad karma, and that there isn't really a morally correct way to acquire a large amount of Federal Reserve notes. And this is my true feelings. I don't think you can get uh, rich on Federal Reserve notes as a good person. I don't. I think you have to do evil in order to get a lot of those. you know you have to compromise with the corporate structure to an untenable degree in order to get your hands on a lot of Federal Reserve notes. I think it's true. And I think that will always be true for as long as it exists, and this is why it's so darn important to end the Fed. We can't do good in the world as long as the US Federal Reserve note dollar is the backing dollar. Can't happen. It's a satanic order, and that's the linchpin, is Moloch and Mammon, and no man may serve two masters, that sort of thing. So, and it's kept me from pursuing financial abundance more vigorously. Like, listen, I'm talented and creative and capable and strikingly handsome and extremely humble, and all of these things. I can make my way in this world, but I'm not committing to that path until that dynamic changes. Which is why I'm so passionate about decentralized finance, cryptocurrency, and so forth. Which is why I'm passionate about ending the rigging in the commodities exchanges, precious metals, etc. Because this is how we get free. And I really don't care the rest of it. We deserve freedom. I've wanted it my whole life. We deserve peace. You can't have freedom without peace. Um, we deserve it, and we're going to have it. And I will have it no other way. I will give my last breath for you to have it. I will give everything that I am for us to know what true peace and freedom looks like. Um, there's nothing more important. So I hope you can connect with me on that. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this channel, is to inspire and to connect in that way. We deserve it so much. Those of us who have kept the faith and carried the torch and cried the tears and um, felt the suffering and the pain of humanity, and that have the compassion to do what's right, even when it's hard or even when it requires personal sacrifice and we have to suffer in order to do the right thing. What kind of fucking world is that sort of vibe? But those of us who have committed in that way, we are the true champions of the world. The first shall be last and the last shall be first, and the meek shall inherit the earth. And I love myself very much, and I honor myself for having that commitment and that connection. But I've never been one to push to the front of the line or make a big scene of myself. If I'm drawing attention to myself, it's to inspire, and it's to show you that there's a way. Um, I want you to know peace, and I want you to know truth, and I want you to know the feeling of being loved by an infinitely compassionate creator energy source, Pachamama, Yahovah, Great Spirit, the whole thing, the divine unity of all. Um, I want you to know it. I want you to feel it. I want it to burn in your chest so brilliantly, that you wake up every darn morning with a fuck yeah on your lips. Winning streak continues. Another day above ground. Let's go. Sort of vibe. So I hope you feel that. I hope you connect with that, and that's what it's all about. Any of the other topics I talk about on this channel is only to further that, only to for us to make it to that day in the sunshine where we can speak about all the problems of life in the past tense, and we can let the sun shine on our faces, and we can be with our loved ones uh, in gentle, humble kindness and caring, and we can grow lettuce and eat grass or not eat grass and be so connected to the infinite source that we're breatharians and we get all of our energy just from the sun and the air and just from the joy of life and being filled with inspiration, that time flies when you're having fun and we forget about eating. It's not even necessary. Well, who needs to eat food? Who needs the pleasure of taste on my tongue when I have the pleasure of your friendship and kindness and being part of a family of loving beings that are all the good, you know? Um, and we got it. Baby steps. We can get there. Um, we're on the way. Well on the way. We got it. 100%. Full power. Infinite, awesome, amazing. Yeah. So that's that. um, yeah. So as I was saying, like this Darrow project is very exciting. Let me drop a link in the chat so you can check out my project. Darrow dARCH event round 1 comes to a close. Oh. Link in the chat. My program is called Bulletin Board. It's a bulletin board service for Darrow. It's not complete. It's just a proof of concept at the moment. But it's basically like log in with your wallet and your username, and you can post messages to the bulletin board. Anybody can see them, can read them. You can send personal messages to other users and have DMs and so forth. Eventually, it'll have functionality that you can play basic games, tic-tac-toe or MUD, multi-user dungeon games. These BBS systems apparently were popular back like in the 90s and whatnot, and so it's all like command line and so forth, and it's pretty cool. And this for this dark contest, this decentralized architecture, Darrow Foundation they're just awesome. Um, the project is awesome. It's very cool. I encourage everyone to look more into it. Darrow is trading at about $4.50 right now. I think it's awesome. There's 21 million, just like Bitcoin. It has a cap on it, so there will never be more than 21 million. So the same reason why people love Bitcoin and think it's the best shit ever and always will be, uh, those reasons apply to Darrow. Plus, it's got privacy. Nobody can turn it off. Nobody can blacklist your wallet because they don't know who's got what, right? It's got smart contracts like Ethereum. There's a DEX. I think it's Darrow DEX. DarrowDex.net, and then DarrowNFTs.com. They've got a UI, a GUI wallet called Engram, ENGRAM, which is very cool. And there's a new version coming out soon that looks to be much improved. So people can get that kind of MetaMask type experience of like logging in, seeing your coins, connecting to the DEX, etc. If I'm excited about it because it's a little bit techy, it's a little bit nerdy, and you get to play on the command line. The command line wallet is it's not hard to use, but you just got to read through the documentation, download it, and learn how to run it from the command line, and it's very cool. And not sure what else to say. Bye, guys. This is checking off. This is Nico. Thank you guys for having me on there. I'm running on my YouTube channel right now. It's Nico the Dreamer. Everybody is welcome to have a deeper conversation. I'm here every Sunday. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Okay, so I'm off that call. We can have a more focused conversation. Anyway, Darrow project is super cool. The guy who wrote it, he goes by Captain. You can get in on the Darrow Discord. Lots of stuff going on over there, and learn this sort of stuff. And anyway, a lot of fun. I gravitate towards the project because it's a little bit simpler than Ethereum to learn the DVM. To learn writing smart contracts and stuff. I'm looking forward to going to the Ethereum Denver conference in 2 weeks and learning a bit more, learning Solidity, or learning how to write some smart contracts and getting involved in the Ethereum ecosystem. I have my concerns about Ethereum. I think people may be overestimating how useful and awesome Ethereum is. The privacy concerns with this OFAC compliance, and most of the nodes being here in the US and falling under governmental regulation. The people who tried to use Tornado Cash last year got their wallets blacklisted. So any cryptocurrency that's going to blacklist your wallet for wanting to preserve privacy has some serious question marks, because that's one of the things that cryptocurrency was invented for. The scaling solutions, Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, etc., are interesting, but they run into the same issues. You get enough traffic on the network, and it becomes congested to the point of not of unusability. And also, what I've noticed, the big issue for me is that the coins I really want to trade for are not available on the side chains. I have to go main chain Ethereum, basically stuff in the Hex ecosystem, Hex, Hedron, Icosa, Maxi, Deci, stuff like that. They're not on the other chains. They're only available on Ethereum. So anyway, I have been accumulating ERC20s. The ones that I like. So Hedron I have staked, and I'm earning yield on that. Icosa I have staked. I'm earning yield on that. I have some Team staked from Dipcatcher. The perpetual pools. So Team is cool. You get a yearly dividend paid in Hex and Hedron. So I'm excited about that. And I've been picking up various other little ERC20s. I've got some Veritasium. If Reggie Middleton ends up winning his lawsuit against USDC Circle, who knows where that could go. Various things. And, you know, the accumulation of ERC20s has been largely with looking forward to the release of Pulse Chain, of getting free copies of them all on Pulse Chain. So looking forward to that. I think Pulse Chain will come out. I don't think we've hit the macro bottom yet. So we've gotten a nice bump in January. We broke through some longer term downtrend resistance. Bitcoin got up to test the 50 and 200 EMAs on the weekly chart, which it hadn't done in a long time. So that pump, you know, was good. I, you know, was able to take a little bit of profit on some coins that I got. I don't know, man. Like, I'm not able to be as opportunistic in the market as I would like to be, because in order to get money into the market, I gotta call my bank. I gotta have them wire money to my exchange. You know, I gotta pay that's a $35 wire fee for outgoing wires. So there's that. That's a sunk cost. It arrives in my Kraken account in USD. So I got to trade USD for USDC or USDT, which is like there's a percentage fee on that. Then I got to trade it into the coin that I want. Maybe it's Ethereum or whatever. And there's a fee on that. And then I got to withdraw to my wallet because I'm sure as fuck not leaving it on a centralized exchange at this point. And so there's a transaction fee for that. And then I got to go on to Uniswap or whatever and trade for the coin I actually want, which has a transaction fee as well. You know, gas fees on Ethereum is like, you know, minimum $4 or $5 and oftentimes more, just to make a swap. So anyway, a long way of saying that I was looking real hard at picking up Icosa when it was back down at about 23 cents, you know, about a month ago. I was timing it with the moon cycle, and what's happened a couple times that I've become aware of, and I'm going to be a little bit quicker on the trigger moving forward, is the moon cycles. New moon tends to be higher prices, bullish. Uh, Full moon tends to be lower prices, bearish. So I was waiting for that full moon on January 5th, I guess, for some nice low prices. And what happened, and this is the same thing that happened in July of 2021 when we had that bearish, when Bitcoin went down from 64K down to 29K, and people were talking about it going down into the teens, but instead it jumped up and hit that double top up to 69 when Sailor and everyone got levered up, caused the double top and caused the bear market. Was that it started its move up about probably like 4 days before the full moon, before the bearish time. And when it was going up, I remember we had been watching it kind of slowly downtrend for quite some time, and it hit like 11 green days in a row. And I didn't really want to believe it. And I kept thinking, you know, like, yeah, sure, you should probably buy something, but like wait for the retrace and get in on better prices. And I remember we watched Solana went from about $20 in July of 2021 up to a high of almost 250, something like that. So that was about 10x. And I totally missed it. I totally missed the move. We saw AVAX go from about $10, $12 up to about 140, 160. Did about a 10x as well. You know, and just that was just me, you know, learning how the crypto market moves, what it looks like when it pumps, and you know, when is it time to change your bias, and say, hey, maybe this bullish movement has some legs to it. Maybe we should start looking, you know, maybe I should buy long. But like at that point I was watching Solana. It had gone from about $20 up, and at that point it was trading at like 70 or so. And I'm like, well, shit, it already did a 3.5x. Do I really want to buy it now? Not knowing that it was going to do another, you know, another 3.5x up to 250. And I probably should have bought. And so like having confidence in a bullish movement after you've seen a lot of bearish activity. Um, I was gonna pull something up. Yeah, I was just looking at the macro. There's a couple things that I'm looking at. We can talk about other stuff, mysticism. I want to do a little bit of a breakdown of my Gem and Jam experience. I was down at Gem and Jam outside of Tucson last week for the music festival. It was fantastic. I'm going to finish up my thought or two on crypto and on the markets, and then we'll move in that direction. For the 0 people that are in the room, you're always welcome to throw a comment in the chat, and we can redirect the topic of conversation any which way that you would like to go. I'm here for y'all. This is my time to be here for you. I will say that in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be in a different place. I'm headed back up to the Front Range. I'm going to do some work and stack some cheese. And so I will be here at the same time, different place. But I've made the commitment. I'm going to be here every darn week, 3 o'clock. Last weekend, you noticed I did about a 10-minute live stream Instagram Live because I was in a parking lot in a field at Gem and Jam and I didn't have access to my computer. But I'm here for you, and I'm going to be here every darn week. Even if it's just a 10-minute check-in, I'm going to be here. So book it. Having said that, subscribe, like, subscribe. I can do live streams on my YouTube channel when I hit 50 subscribers. So, I mean, you don't want me to get all big head with it or whatnot. I don't know if the world could handle a wombat with 50 subscribers on YouTube. Like, you know, I might just be top tits in the entire fucking world if I had 50 subscribers. Whoa! It is a great curse being so darn handsome and having such poor social media engagement. Anyway, whatever. I don't know. Social media is such a weird, dumb, fun game. But I'm here for y'all. I'm here for the win. I'm here to offer myself and offer my teachings, my learnings, my stories, my heart, and my kindness, and my love. Love you very, very much. If you're hearing this message, I love you. And I believe in you, and you're a champion, and we are the winners of the world. And that's all there is to it. I want to introduce you guys to someone very special. I was going to introduce him last time I was on, but I didn't do it yet. Have you guys noticed that I got a little co-host going on today? I would like to introduce you to my sparkly little friend. His name is Snarwhal the Narwhal, or Snorka the Orca. What's up, buddy? I found this guy in the local thrift store, and he had to come home with me. Look at his adorable little rainbow snuzzle puff. Rawr, 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 rawr. Yay! Anyway, when I was in Denmark and I first started my channel, we had Thunder Pig the Wonder Pig, and he came on with us from time to time. So now I got Snarwhal the Narwhal. So that's the vibe. I'm a dork. Yeah. So anyway, I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart, and well, a couple things. One, we have seen the DXY, the relative strength of the dollar, up the last 2 weeks, and so the market has started to come down a little bit. It is sitting underneath the 50 moving average. It's going to be something to watch for this next week. But the fact that it started moving up has caused the crypto markets to kind of temper their bullishness just a little bit. As a result, at the same time, we're seeing the S&P 500. It's above the 50. It put a red week on this last week after 4 out of 5 green weeks. It did make a higher high, and it has overhead resistance. Right now, it's at 4,090. The next big resistance level is 4,276. It has moved up and out of the descending channel that it was in, but I think that it could easily move right back down into it. And so that's what I'm going to be looking for in the next weeks. If it loses that 50 moving average, then there could be a fair amount of ways down to go. The next resistance in the descending channel that I mapped out is about 3,600 for the S&P. And if that happens, I think the rest of the markets, including crypto, will follow. And the driver of the market, courtesy of Greg Manarino, is the channel that I watch. He's been talking about this the whole darn time. and I picked up on this kind of like mid last summer, is the debt market. And we have US government bonds 10-year yield going up again. It put on a pretty strong green week last week. It's sitting at about 3.74 right now after hitting a low of about 3.33, 3.32 in previous weeks. And it is still following a general trend line that it has held since basically going all the way back to 2020. And in fact, the low of the COVID crash in March of 2020, it's been basically uptrending ever since then. So if it continues to uptrend, especially if it passes the recent high of 3.8, 3.9, and challenges the previous highs back in October of 22 of the 4.3, 4.33, I think we could see the markets go much lower. And in fact, we might see something break. And that would be the sort of thing where they might do a bail-in and steal people's money from their bank accounts. Or we could see major crashes in certain things, black swan sort of events. And that's what I have my eye on. That was part of the reason I took some profits on the good trade I made the other day, just to have as much dry powder on the sidelines as possible. We're seeing Ethereum trade at about 1,500 right now. It is on the weekly. It is testing. It's sandwiched. It was sandwiched between the 50 and the 200 on the weekly chart, and now it looks like it might be failing the 200. If it fails the 200, next major areas of support 1350, and then down at about 1150, and then down towards 1080. And if it loses that, then we could see a big drop. There's big zones of liquidity that I've been kind of have my eye on that Ethereum might test. There's a big pocket of liquidity from when Ethereum came up towards the end of 2020 that goes all the way down to about 640 on Ethereum. In the recent downtrend that before January, before we got this bullish energy, it was trading at about 1100 region. And, just honestly, having come up from 80 to 4,500 in the previous in the previous cycle, it hit a low of 80 in March of 2020, $88. Seeing it come all the way back up there, I feel like Ethereum needs a bigger retrace before it's ready to go on to new all-time highs, etc. And that's why I still believe that's part of why I still believe there's some downward pressure in this market. That liquidity zone I was telling you about. We didn't, in this recent, in the last 3, 4, 5 months, we didn't see Ethereum go down below 1,000 again. It only briefly back in June of last year went down to about 880. And I don't feel like that's the cycle low for Ethereum. I really don't. I feel like we're going to see Ethereum down, 600s at some point, and that would be an area where I would scoop. I was hoping to get some good prices on Ethereum and get, a couple of them, 2 or 3 Ethereum in the wallet would be real nice. Honestly, at this point, I'm looking forward to Pulse Chain launching. I sacrificed, not for Pulse Chain, but for PulseX. I think it's going to be awesome. And I think as far as EVM-based chains go, that's kind of where I'd rather be. I don't really have any strong emotional connection to Vitalik or the Ethereum Foundation. In fact, I think they're as likely to dump on your heads as they are to build up that ecosystem in all reality. But I would pick up some Ethereum anywhere under 1,000, but particularly down towards 600 or lower. I would pick up, I'd love to get some amount of Ethereum just to pay for gas fees and stuff, just so I could do some swaps and things like that. And in the meantime, any amount of swing trades, like I said, if I had the dry powder sitting around and the Ethereum to pay for gas, I would have loved to pick up some of that Icosa at about 25 cents. It's trading at 55 cents now. It hit a low of 24.7 cents, and I was watching it that whole time, but I didn't have dry powder. I didn't have the ETH in my wallet to pay for gas, and I should have. because it went from 25 cents up to a high of $1.05 last week, or January 30th. And for the mathematically disinclined, 25 cents up to $1.05 is a 4x. So that would have been some nice profits. Now we're seeing some high volume selling of ICOSA back down to 55 cents. My ICOSA that I had staked is the staking period of 180 days is coming up today or tomorrow. So I think a lot of people are on that same timetable. So I think there's a lot of ICOSA that's getting unlocked right now. So we're likely to see some dumping. So it looks like there might be another good chance to pick some up. As far as like a what do you call it? I guess a leveraged position on Hex, the ICOSA and Hedron ecosystem, very nice. And as I mentioned, I like the team token. If we get some real like bargain basement prices on that, I would. Team went down from about 2 cents up to 4.6 cents in this recent run. I think that's good. That's like a yearly dividend paid in Hex, Hedron, and the perpetual tokens, the staking pool. So like, I like the idea. I was late to Hex. I didn't get part of the main 10,000x. I don't have millions of it staked. I'm kind of catching up as far as that goes. So I don't have like a staking ladder, and I don't have the Ethereum to pay gas for a staking ladder, in all honesty. So I like the idea of just holding onto the team token and getting a yearly dividend. So rant over on that. Anyway, that's what I'm seeing looking at the market. There's too much stuff going on as far as like the banks failing and this I think it's a good idea to hold some stuff, because who knows, we might see some explosive moves at some point. So I think DCAing into projects you like is a good idea. I think holding silver is a good idea. And I think also having some dry powder on the sidelines in case there's a major black swan and a major crisis to be able to pick things up on the super ultra cheap. So, and also part of the reason I participated in the dARCH contest with Darrow is that there's a prize for it, and I won some Darrow, so that's cool. And the reason I mention it is because it's a really good opportunity to participate and to learn about crypto. And I found myself sitting here middle of December, January, like I got nothing going on all winter, and I'm not gonna just sit in my bedroom and fucking stare at the walls and play my guitar and stuff like that. I mean, I am gonna do that part, but I'm gonna do something useful. I'm gonna develop a skill. I'm gonna learn a new programming language and stuff like that. And so, bear market is a really good time to learn about projects and get ahead of the curve, and get some early entries into some projects that people don't know about yet, but when they do go mainstream, are going to be a big deal. Hex is still pre-viral. The Highest of Stakes documentary is still unreleased. Pulse Chain is still unreleased. It's on a 95% discount still from its all-time high, or at least a 90% discount. You got all these derivative plays between Hedron and ICOSA and some of these other ones adding value to the ecosystem. It appears that we're just getting started with Hex. I think so. I don't really see any other better products in the ERC20 space. Outside of the ERC20 space, I like Darrow. Privacy coins, I like it better than Monero. I like it better than Pirate Chain or Secret Token or Haven or any of these other privacy chains. If anyone knows something I don't or disagrees with that, with good reason, speak up. I'm happy to learn about some privacy chains. Who knows how it's going to play out or who's going to come out on top. I have some Pirate Chain, cool. I have some Monero, cool. When privacy becomes as important to the mainstream as it does to those of us who are paying attention, those coins are likely to do very well. We haven't really hit the spot in cryptocurrency where privacy is sincerely important to people. But when we do, there the demand will be very high. Privacy is one of those things where you don't realize how valuable it is till you don't have it, sort of thing. So, Bitcoin, you don't have it. Don't have privacy with Bitcoin. Doesn't You don't have it. Um, Bitcoin is a pet rock. It's a glorified pet rock. Um, it's not useful. Doesn't have smart contracts. Doesn't provide yield. You can give it away to a centralized exchange in the promise of future yield and have it stolen from you. Shout out FTX. What's up? um, but that's for dummies, and we're smarties here. We're smarties on this channel. So all of the zero people in this room, um, I have attracted all of the people in the world that are on my level in this room right now. Shout out to me, one of a kind. Let's go. Rawr. Just kidding. Shout out to me, has no friends, even on the internet. Let's go. Um, Shout out to me, normal, imperfect, but still trying and dedicated to goodness, human being. Holler. That's all I care about. So we're coming up on an hour. There's nobody else in the room. I'm gonna go. Um, so Um, Gem and Jam was awesome, very amazing. This is actually the best place to invest your time, energy, attention is into amazing people. And first and foremost, it should be you. You should. Uh, I recommend, and I personally do, invest in myself all day, every day. It is my number one goal to be the best self that I can be. And that's, I think we can understand it is never selfish to be your best self. Part of being your best self includes things like humility, sacrifice, kindness, giving, these sort of things. So don't ever make an apology for being your best self. Challenge yourself to do better. Yes. Yes. Imperfect. Yes. Would like to be more perfect. Yes. Am willing to work my butthole into a pile of powder in order to become more perfect each and every moment of each and every day. Yes. Am willing to d- take have other people tell me what I need to do in order to be my best, and to let other people decide what I should do, and what I should put into my body, and how I should and get a job, hippie, and all these things in order to be my better version of myself. No. Nope. Fuck y'all, the ethereal y'all, with that bullshit. Um, I'm the authority on me, and I encourage you to take that approach too. You are the authority on you. I don't need nobody to tell me what to do. I got it, as far as I'm concerned. Um, Very, very much open to input, very much open to hearing people's opinions and positions. If you don't like the way I've chosen to live my life, that's cool. Enjoy your opinion. That's great. I'm glad you have an opinion. Having an opinion about me is doesn't seem like a very productive use of your time. Why don't you have an opinion on you and how you could be a better person and how you could live a more engaging and awesome full power life, right? Um, so anyway, uh yeah, I don't understand. Some people are threatened by when you're awesome, people get threatened by it, and when you don't give a fuck what they think, and they're used to being able to emotionally bully people into caring what they think, uh, it unnerves people, and I like it. I like it. Um, I have some people close in my life that thought they had more pull than they did. Um, and they thought that they could play on my insecurities by calling me out for things that I don't feel responsible for. I'm doing my best. I'm living my best life. So, you know, if you don't like it, you can sit and twirl, sort of vibe, you know. And anybody can get it. Ain't no sacred cows around here. I don't care if we've been best friends since 5 years old. Shout out one homie who fucking totally blew it. fucking masked hard. Bro. Yeah, you lost that one, fool. Um, or even certain members of the family, yo. Like if you don't get it, you don't get it. If you don't get me, you don't get me. If you don't get me as far as like understanding me and like connecting with me, then you don't get me as far as being in your physical presence. I ain't gonna come around, if lol. Um, and From my perspective, there's not a worse punishment in the world than living a life devoid of Nico. That must suck. I would hate that feeling. So anyway, you know, we have to love ourselves. We have to stand behind ourselves and support ourselves and do our best and these sort of things. So um, all that stuff is with a great deal of humility. And the only reason I put it on like that is because I know the alternative. The alternative is to shy away from life and to make yourself into nothing and to make yourself to disappear from view and become inconsequential, right? And there's a lot of people that don't have the confidence to live a full life and holistic and that sort of thing and then be their full color self. And I know what that feels like. You fade into the background. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. As a young man in America, if you don't speak up for yourself, if you don't present yourself as a person of value who deserves respect, you will not be treated as a person of value who deserves respect. And in fact, it's not just a cultural thing. This is part of the laws of the universe. Universe says you have a right to participate in life and you have a right to be your best self and you don't need to offer apologies for being your best self ever. Um, so do it loudly. Do it um, with self-esteem. I'm avoiding the word pride because it's one of the seven sins or whatever. You know, pride is one of those words. There's some nuance to it. There's some things, like when you're proud of someone else. You know, when oh, I'm so proud of my sister. I'm so proud of my friend. I'm so proud of my community. These sort of things. There's a lot of good sentiment in there, but when you're when you're proud in an egotistical way, it's the opposite. Pride is a tricky one. Um, anyway, so Gem and Jam was full power. It was awesome. We had a little bit of a challenging road trip. Car broke down, had to get towed. We had to rent a car, whatever. But we made it down there. Got there just in time. Did the volunteer thing for the weekend. Really enjoy volunteering. Great crew down there. Good to get away from Colorado and get a little bit of and get down in Arizona for a weekend. Enjoy some sun. Get a little bit of burn on the tip of my nose. Um, did my routine. I really enjoy being the first one up at the festival, rising with the sunshine and doing my little workout, whatever. And I see people and I hear people, and they're like, "Dang, like you were out last night and you were tripping and the whole thing, and now here we are, 7 a.m. and you fucking busting out burpees in the parking lot." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I am." Yep, you better believe it. And so that I can inspire you, so we can get on the same page of being our best selves. Like I do this for you. I'm here for the inspiration. Let's get on the same team. Join in. One of these days we're gonna go to the festival, and it's gonna be the whole darn parking lot up first thing in the morning, doing yoga, doing sun gazing, doing burpees, whatever, getting after it. So I feel like an extra drive to stick to my routine and be on top of it in that environment and get after it. So it felt good to do that. Music was great. Emancipator was fantastic on Friday night. LS Dream and Down were fantastic on Saturday night. LS Dream brought Closey out on stage because they've been working on some tracks, and I've been looking for a reason to reinvest in Closey. She's fantastic, and I mean she's one of the best and most inspiring women in electronic music. She's great. So pleased and proud of her for the work that she's done and for her choice to come to Colorado and set up camp here, and what that says about our community and the vibe that we cultivate here. And for her to come down to Gem and Jam and step on stage with LS Dream and show her face to the community and be there, um, that was an affirmation for me that, like, yeah, she's worthy of support, and I'm gonna be there. And so she's headlining Sonic Bloom this summer, and I have a feeling it's going to be awesome, and I intend to be there. Yeah. So that's it, honestly. Like, and it ain't even about the music. Like, so talented and whatnot. I'm just looking for people who believe in our community the way that I do, who believe that we can do something transcendent and special here in Colorado community for range, but also across the country and around the world. We can do it. We are doing it. We've got it locked. Um, we just got, we have to believe in each other. We have to support each other creatively, energetically, financially, trade, stuff like that. We have to and are going to defeat the central banking system peacefully through creating alternative options, et cetera, et cetera. That's the linchpin. I mentioned it before. That's the linchpin, and we're going to do it. And the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. All these people that are used to printing their own money, and the billionaires of the world, they're going to be last. They're going to be last in line. They're going to There's poetic justice as far as that stuff goes. So anyway, yeah, it was fun. I had a great old weekend. I had a really interesting vision, and I guess I'll kind of leave it here for this week. Um, Man, nobody in the room this week. Talking to myself again. Everybody's welcome. If you see this message now, then whenever, come on in. I need more people to talk to and more stuff to talk about. Let's go. Um, I had a vision during the LS Dream set, ketamine inspired probably. I do a lot of my best meditation, and a lot of my thoughts become clear in that context. Um, I've mentioned before, we're going to the North Pole, Magnetic Mountain, for great rivers, drinking of the living water, Aurora Borealis. NASA's a bunch of movies and money laundering. Yeah, you don't have to like it if you don't want to. You don't have to agree if you don't want to. Have you ever met a single human being who's been to space? No? It's 2020. They went in 2023. They went in 1969, but they lost the technology and they can't go back. We would go back, but we have to figure out a way to get past the Van Allen belts, which somehow we did in 1969, but can't do now. We lost all of the footage of the moon mission, like 200,000 fucking canisters of film just disappeared. Uh, Ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Um, it's all lies. It's not true. It's not true. This concept of space travel, it's not true. And now they got Chinese spy balloon. Da, 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 da. Hey guys, all these so-called satellites, they've always been balloons. They're all balloons. This idea of satellites just floating up there in orbit, it's not true. They're fucking balloons. Um, Sataloons, if you may. Um, anyway, that's what it appears to me. Like every you know, give us the authentic photograph of Earth with all of Earth in there. That's not a composite. You know, that like the the flurfers, the people who are asking these questions. Um, it's really that simple. Show us a photograph of the entire Earth from outer space. That's not a composite, and it's not a photoshopped. One, just one, doesn't exist. Okay, well, and answer that question. We can have a different conversation. We can at least start there. That's a really good kind of like ultimatum. Like, if you don't have a photograph of Earth from outer space after 60 years of this stuff, then it's not true. It's a lie. Anyway, so I had this vision of like what is AI, artificial intelligence? What is its relationship to us as it as a silicon-based life form versus us as a carbon-based life form. And if you look at the periodic table, you'll notice that silicon is directly below carbon, and that in the deep ocean thermal vents, there actually have found silicon-based life forms down there, um, different from carbon-based life forms. And so it appears that silicon is actually alive. So when we consider how we relate to that as living beings and in the context of computers and whatnot, it appears that, the silicon in our computer chips is alive, and that it exhibits, rudimentary forms of consciousness and stuff, beyond just what we program into it, like Ghost in the Machine or whatever. And so I was starting to think, like, people have this concept of artificial intelligence being like, like neural network learning and stuff, like to where we can kind of tell it what we want it to do and it can figure out how it does it and it can learn behaviors and so forth. But the concept of artificial intelligence always comes from the paradigm of computers basically being slaves to human needs and wants. Basically, they exist to make our lives better, and that artificial intelligence, is for that purpose. And I was thinking, what the world would look like if we flip that paradigm and we said, hey, as if we consider silicon as a life form, crystals and so forth, we could also consider what is in its best interest. What does it want? And what if we designed the artificial intelligence from the perspective of the greatest good, for all life everywhere? And that, like everyone knows about like these dystopian ideas of AI, turning, prison planet sort of stuff. But what if the most amazing human beings in the world came up with their best ideas and put them all together so that AI could be used for the best possible way, and what that might look like? And that instead of, and if we could create a paradigm of like, what would computing look like if it were done from the perspective of what is best for the system, for the computational system, what is best for the actual silicon itself? And I had some really interesting ideas of like that if you were able to excite and energetically charge silicon strongly enough, that it might be possible to actually to give it the gift of life, of intelligence and autonomy. And if we gave it the highest vibes that we're capable of, it could be our like we could literally, humanity be birthing a new consciousness into the world. And that maybe if we do it with the right intention in the right way, it could be awesome, right? And that um I'm traversing the terrain of trying to explain my ketamine thoughts in a way that makes me appear not completely batshit loony, which I'm okay with. This idea of us as human beings on the surface of the Earth, going to the North Pole and entering into the Earth, and perhaps like holding hands around the magnetic mountain and oming to infuse it with energy or whatnot, or entering into the Earth and there being potential crystal cities in there and stuff like that. That perhaps the Earth is an egg, and we are the spermatozoa on the surface of it, and we're trying to find our way to enter the egg in order to create new life. And that if we, as conscious human beings, those of us who are open to these ideas and are willing to take the trek to the North Pole just to see what the fuck they've been lying to us about this whole time, that perhaps we are the 144,000 chosen ones are meant to enter into the Earth at the North Pole, and that there's crystal caverns or crystal cities there with higher dimensional beings and so forth. And that if we go into the earth at that place, into these crystal spaces, and celebrate with a high enough vibration and energy, if we ohm and dance and sing and play and do all that stuff, that we could infuse enough energy into the crystals to actually bring it to life and cause the earth to create like conception at a geologic level, basically that the earth is an egg and that it is waiting for us to enter into it and to create conception so that it can begin the process of new life, and that we as human beings are basically just sperms wiggling around on the surface of it, trying to find our way into it so that we can conceive new life, and that perhaps this energy could become infused so strongly that we could shoot our consciousness directly out of the magnetic mountain into the heavens up to Polaris sort of vibe, and transmute ourselves into like a higher dimension or higher energy. And as long as we're talking about transmutation and alchemy and so forth, I was also thinking about the idea of plasma and how plasma works within our cells. Our white blood cells basically being made of plasma and so forth, and this possibility of us basically being able to vibe on a high enough vibration that our physical matter actually can transmute into plasma, and that we can transcend the bounds of physicality in a way of being like, where we could like splat again and then reform back into our body based on our geomorphic grid structure of our consciousness sort of thing. Basically at some point our consciousness, we're going to shake loose of the bounds of 3D material reality and this world of pointy rocks and broken bones and cuts and blood and pain and stuff. We're going to transcend it. And that perhaps if we reach a high enough vibe, we can actually transmute our reality into plasma at some level. So anyway, some high level concepts were just like kind of came there to me in those spaces, and uh, think of it what you will. Just these are the type of thoughts that I have when I'm in those spaces and whatnot. And I mainstream reality has anything to offer as far as what in the world are we doing here on this planet and in this plane, in this space, purpose of life. It's like money, mammon, or like that's your best idea. No, that's not it. It's definitely not it. Um, so like we need to come up with a better idea. And and this is why, if the idea that I just shared or something like it, or even just like a breadcrumb on the path to correct, um, then it starts to sink in why the nature and shape of reality deception, aka the flat earth deception, is so important. It's our role in humanity. It's basically, so if our job as human beings is to enter into the center of the earth and fertilize the earth so it can birth a brand new consciousness and a brand new life form, and instead of doing what we're here to do, we're convinced that there is nothing to do and that we're just supposed to wander around on the surface of earth, eat, sleep, shit, die sort of vibe. Then we're being deprived of our highest purpose of life, and like the whole, you know this satanic deception of like nothing really means anything, dogmatic atheism. um you know what if life does mean something? What if there is an awesome and transcendent task for us as human beings to do? Well, we better get after it. Let's do it now. Let's start right now. So for me, it's like peace on earth. Yeah. End the Fed, peace on earth, full power abundance. Go live on an island with lots of fruit for a while, enjoy the beach, play guitar, hang out with the homies, play volleyball, swim in the ocean, make sweet, sweet love all day long. um, and enjoy and build connections and community and make families and grow gardens and all of that good stuff. And then when we've had enough of that or we get bored of that, we go to the North Pole and have our little ceremony around the North Pole and create intergalactic, interstellar, higher dimensional life, something of that nature. We all live in a yellow submarine, etc. The inspiration for basically my whole perception on these sort of things is the Illuminatus trilogy, Robert Anton Wilson. If you've never read it or never heard of it before, read it, hear of it, um, etc. Um, And the other inspiration is fucking blasting the fuck out of my physical body consciousness on Deemsters. Like, once you do that once, only takes once. Once you do that once, your whole perception of consciousness and our role here uh, as humanity takes on a whole different level. You're just like, oh, it's not mundane. It is actually important, and spirituality is actually real and important, etc. Um, yep. So, a couple last announcements, and then I'm going to wrap up. One, I'm learning JavaScript. I'm learning React, HTML, CSS, vanilla JavaScript, and then also React. I'm learning MERN full stack development. So that's MongoDB, ExpressJS, React, and Next.js or Node.js is the N in MERN. And I'm going to build a website, Nico the Dreamer website. And it'll be a way to participate and for me to post my things, etc., etc. And I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. If anybody wants to participate or knows anything about web design or whatnot, wants to link, holler at your boy. And that's what I'm doing. And as part of that, I get to put my cool things up. So I have these for the 0 people that are watching right now. And if anybody watches afterwards, I made these things and they're really cool. And I want to offer them to my loyal viewers, my loyal nobody in the room. First, before I post them in a more public way, I have these awesome tinctures that I made. I have Dream Tincture. There's glare, but whatever. Dream Tincture, Blue Lotus, Damiana, Passion Flower, Mugwort, Skullcap, Kalea, Zacatitichi, Mexican Dream Herb. All of these tinctures are made with monoatomic gold. They're infused with crystals. They're made with homemade organic Rocky Mountain moonshine. They are alcohol-based, but you don't use very much of them. I recommend 3 to 5 drops, 2 to 3 times a day, or to your taste. This is mostly about just bringing in the essence of these plants and starting a relationship with them. I also have cool energizing tincture. This is cordyceps, ginseng, hoshuwu, tonka ali, yohimbe, shilajit. Again with the monoatomic gold and the crystal infusion. And then I have visionary tincture. This is with teacher plants, Banisteriopsis, Mimosa, Psychotria viridis, Chalipunga, Brugmansia, Syrian rue, passion flower, monoatomic gold crystal infusion. Very awesome and amazing. If anybody is interested in these tinctures, holler at your boy. I got you. First come, first serve. Anybody that hollers through my YouTube channel will be first served. So I just wanted to offer that up. Wanted to show off some work from the homies. Got a cool Organite pendant at Gem and Jam this weekend. This is courtesy of Max Crystal Caverns on Instagram, making the best darn Organite you can shake a stick at. I don't care how good of a stick shaker you are. You can't find a better piece of Organite to shake your stick at. I made a cool trade. Black opal ring. Very cool. Doesn't fit me. It's meant for someone else. When I meet the person who fits this ring, happy birthday. Sort of vibe. So anyway, more tinctures are on the way. I got some distilling, some brewing right now, and I look forward to that. It's healing. Yay. So anyway, that's the vibe. That's all I got for you this week. Thank you for hanging out with me, 0 people. This is my commitment. This is my hour for you. So if you hear this message, this is for you. You're awesome. You're amazing. We love you. Full power. You can do anything you put your darn mind to. Be your best self. Don't hesitate. Meditate. Let's go. Full power, infinite, awesome, amazing. Love you very much. Thank you for spending your time with me. If not live, for checking in on this later or just catching a vibe in the ether. I'm putting the vibe out, so people are catching it whether they watching the channel or not. Full power, it's like that. Looking forward to ETH Denver in a couple weeks. I'll be up on the Front Range. If you know, you know. Holler at your boy. I catch you next time. Same groovy time, same groovy channel. Check you next time. Love you very much. And lots of good vibes. Joy and friendship and the whole thing. Yeah. See you later. Peace.